Hey, good morning, everybody. I trust you all had a nice Thanksgiving holiday. The wife and I celebrated our Thanksgiving yesterday when I went over to the daughter's house, had a really nice time. And got up early this morning, thought I'd make this video. Yesterday afternoon, I drug another clock home. And it's old Ingraham, and I'm going to show it to you in just a minute. I bought it off eBay, and I bought it from, let me turn around and check this out here. Oh, I bought it from Buyer's Market 2. They're on eBay. They have an eBay store. Have a lot of nice things, a lot of good deals. This is the second clock I bought from them, and I appreciate the business and the service and everything that went along with the purchase of the clock. So, hey, let's get started and take a look at this clock I brought home. It's kind of a rarity, so hey, hang in there, don't go away. All right, let's take a look in the old workshop and see what we got today. Oh, by the way, these clocks on the wall right here, we're in the basement cave right now. That row of clocks, except for the bottom clock. That bottom clock right there that's running, you know what, that's a Frankenstein right there. It says Ingraham on it, but it's not an Ingraham. It's got an aftermarket movement. I don't know what the case is. Hey, it's our outdoor clock. I put it on the screen porch in the summertime, and it's an excellent clock. Keeps good time, runs good. But anyway, those two and those two are old Waterbury clocks. This one right here, that's a 30-hour clock. And this one right there, that's also a 30-hour clock. And let's take a look in here and see what I brought home. Alrighty. Let me adjust this light right here so you can really get a good look at this. I have no idea what year this is. I'm gonna guess late 1800s, early 1900s, very early 1900s. And there's some problems with this clock. It's all there. I got the screws off the back already. Let's turn this thing around. Now, in my previous videos, I always told you that, oh, listen to that thing, it's ticking like a madman. In my previous videos, I told you I do not restore clocks. All I do is detail them. I get them running. I oil the movements and do the best I can. I'm not a professional clock repairman or anything like that. However, this clock here, I'm not going to restore it, but I'm going to call it, I got to unrestore it. And I'll show you in a little bit, I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. First of all, whoever had this clock, they manufactured this little door here. It's got they did a nice job, except for that's not going to fly with me. So what we're going to do is we're going to peel those moldings off. I'll use my old auto glass tool right here. There we go. The old equalizer. I'll peel those moldings off, and I'll probably end up turning it around backwards and using this side right here because it's pretty clean. So that's one thing I'm going to do. And disregard this. I don't know what this is. I don't know why I even did that. You can. These doors are readily available. It's all it is like looks like a top of an old coffee can lid, but it's got a screw that would go. Maybe he meant. Oh, this one might have had a hinge that went here and went there. There's two different styles, but Ingraham used two different styles. But anyway, let me get some light on the subject here. And I'll show you a rarity with this clock. It's got a music movement in it. It's got a music box in it. And I thought maybe somebody put it there. But if you check this hole out on the side, that's from Ingraham. That's from the manufacturer. And there's a lever here. Some things are bent in there. And I got to get that out of there and see if I can make that work. And also, you know, this spring here, when I bought it, before I bought this, I thought the spring was broke, but it's not the spring that's broke, it's the click it's the click ratchet that's probably turned around backwards, or something's wrong with the click ratchet on that, because it will wind up but it will not hold. So once I get that movement out, I'm going to see about that click ratchet there. I think I've got, if it's missing or something, I think I got one laying around here. Okay, to get to where I was telling you about restoring a clock or whatever, let's take a good look at this clock. Let me turn it around. Stop running, will you? Jeez. You can't wait, can you? You just can't wait to go. All right, here's what we got. I hate when people try to restore a clock because it's just stupid. Please don't do this. Don't go down to the Ace Hardware and get paint and try to restore your clock. Okay, first of all, number one, the hardware. That should be old and dull. It shouldn't have gold paint on it. We don't need gold paint there. The lion heads, same thing. The feet, the same thing. So I got to try to get some steel wool and something and dull that back up like it's supposed to look like. Number two, somebody has taken a paintbrush and some high gloss enamel. Here's a spotting mist right here. And you can see the brush strokes on it if you look close, and it's high gloss enamel. And they painted this clock black with the brush. Okay, originally this part right here and this molding that went around here, right here, was actually a faux marble paint. I believe this would have been like a khaki green brown with stripes that went through it, and the same with this. So I'm going to attempt to repaint that. I don't know how it's going to turn out. Before I absolutely start to do it, I'm going to make sure I'm going to be successful with it. I'm going to look at a couple of YouTube videos and see exactly. I'm going to start with these parts right here first before I attempt this. I'm not pulling the clock apart, so this might be just a thought right here. But we got to do something with that. But number one, we got to take these off. These should pull off, and we will paint those the correct color. They also got the old gold paint going around this here. Now the center doesn't look really too bad. I might take some real fine steel wool and just rub it lightly and see what happens. This would have looked better tarnished than painted. So that's, like I said, I might have to unrestore this clock. Some 600 on this, dull this up. Take some 600 on that, dull that paint all up, and then kind of maybe use some buffing wheel and kind of buff it out, and it'll be a lot duller than this, and it'll also tone that paint down a little bit. We'll see what happens, but that's what we got to do. Then we got to get a door for this thing here. Also, the pendulum is missing and the key is missing. So I think I got in my stack of stuff. You know, my daughter makes fun of me saving peanut butter jars. Hey, she thinks I'm a hoarder. I don't know, what do you think? But I think I've got a key in there that will fit. Oh, look at them. Let's see. That's a beauty right there. I bet that will fit. I just got a feeling. Oh, look at that. All right, there. One problem solved. All right, let's see what we got as far as... Oh, man. Wrestling this lid open. Let's see what we got as far as pendulums here. My God. These will all probably... Look at that. There's one with an eye on it. Look at that. Oh, that's a thing of beauty right there. All right, 2 problems solved right there. I do have an Ingraham clock from 1880 upstairs, and I'm going to show it to you in a little bit. It's almost the same style as this clock. It has a different dial, and the fall marble paint's probably different. But let me run back upstairs and I will show you that clock. Hold on a sec. Okay, here is the Ingraham clock that I've had for many years right here. Bought this one at Coachman Antique Mall in LaPorte. And when I brought it home, it had a couple of busted springs on it, and we snuck some springs in there. But take note of the similar hardware on this, right here, okay? And take note of the fall marble paint that's around here. Okay, that clock that we're looking at down in the workshop, this molding probably was a green fall marble, and this molding was the same here. And take note of the metal hardware on here. You see the patina? I didn't need to paint gold paint on there. That's nice. That's the way the clock is supposed to look from 1880 into 2022. This is the way it's supposed to look. This is very old. I don't need to go down to Cablin's Ace Hardware and get me some Krylon gold paint and start painting the hardware on that. It's crazy. Stop doing that, people. All right. Now what I'm going to do next, I'm going to pull the face off that clock. And Ingram's will have, if it's a real old Ingram, it'll just have the year on there. But if it's a later Ingram, it'll have the month over here and the year over here. And we're going to pull that face off and see what we find. Still got the key and the pendulum on the roof here, on the roof of the old, all right, put that in there. And always use, hey, for your parts, always use something to put your parts in. Just don't throw your parts all over the place. And, okay, let's open this up. I've got a pair of needle nose that I use most times, and I found this ratcheting screwdriver at Tractor Supply. Come with a little kit. Actually, man, this is the handiest thing for a clock. You got all kinds of stuff to go with it. I'm not saying it was an expensive item, because it wasn't, but you know what? For clocks, it was perfect. So all you got to do, I use these that they got a curved needle nose with a bent thing on here. Just grab this, don't do any damage, be easy. Just give it a spin, and you can go ahead and take your nut off. Don't lose this nut. Can you see me all right? There, don't lose this nut. I was at my daughter's house yesterday, and my grandson and I put a clock together last winter, and he lost this nut a couple of days ago. They painted their house and they moved the clock, and somehow it came up missing. I looked high and low for a nut for that thing. Could not find it. It was a Japanese clock, kind of like a Sakosha or something like that, wall clock, schoolhouse clock. So I went on eBay and ordered a variety pack of those, and well, we'll see if we, in a few days when they come in, we'll see if we can't fix them up. So, well, anyway, let's get back to this. Yeah, take your hands off. Don't be so brutal with the thing. You know, use a little finesse here. These usually spin off pretty easy. Put your hands there. Don't lose your hands. If these screws are loose and the dial, the bezel will not tighten back up on the clock, address that problem. Don't just slop it on there, put the screws in and leave them loose, because you're gonna regret that down the line. A couple of things you could do is put a little glue, wood glue into the holes. That tightens it up pretty good. I just wished that people that get clocks don't get so nervous with the clock and start painting. Start trying to make a new clock out of this. You know, this clock is old. I don't know how old it is. We're going to find out pretty soon. Get this bezel out of the way. We'll have a look at this thing and see what we got. Be easy with it, you know. All right. Get the light. Let's see what we got here. Okay, I'm going to point this out. You won't be able to see it, but I'll grab the camera and get a close shot of it. Right here, it's the Ingraham clock. Here's 02 right here on the right side, and 10 right here. So this clock was manufactured October of 1902. That's a ways back. Next thing I do, and I get an old clock, is I check this escapement wheel. That escapement wheel is in good shape. It's not sloppy. Got a little bit of slop, but it's not bad. It will run. In fact, you can't stop it from running. So we've got that far with it. So the next thing I'm going to have to do is start pulling these moldings off of here and getting some 600 and start rubbing on this. I'm going to pull that clock movement out. It does not really look dirty, but well, there you have it. Okay, I can get the light on here. I don't know if you can read this or not, but I wish this thing would stop doing that. And this is just a, there we go. If you can read that or not, but anyway, right by that, it says 2, and on this side, it says 10. I don't know if you can see that or not. But anyway, that's where the years are on the Ingraham clocks. Now that old clock I showed you from 1880, it had a date on there, 1879. So it was patented in 1879, and I think the first Ingraham clocks, I might be wrong about that, first black Mantle clocks came out in 1880. So. Well, we're going to take this one apart. Like I said, I don't restore clocks, but I think I'm going to have my hands full with this one because somebody had to do some painting on this thing. It looks okay, but it's just too crazy. I mean, why does anybody want to spray paint this stuff? Alrighty then, I've got this movement out of here, and I don't know if you can see this or not or whatever, but let me hold it up into the light, get that out of the way. Let's see if we can get some light on the subject here. Show you exactly what's wrong with this. It's not the click ratchet. And if you can focus on the one gear is out of, I don't know if we're seeing this or not, but right there where my finger is pointing, right here where this screwdriver is, this gear right here, this shaft right here is out of the, supposed to go in, I wish I could, in here. It's supposed to go in there. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's supposed to go in there. What I'm going to have to do is loosen the movement up and push that in, and I think this will wind because this gear here is not catching on this gear because this gear is out. And maybe turn it here and you'll see this gear is out of here. The pin is out of there. So we'll take another step and see if we can't get that straightened up and then wind that clock up. This is the gong side. So, and also I've got this music box movement pulled out. And it doesn't look like anything is wrong with it. The only thing is there's a rare part missing right here. This would have a screw on it. It would look like this, only with a longer shaft. It would go here. This doesn't fit on there, but it would have a longer shaft to go through the clock, and you would wind it with a key similar to this. We might have to figure something out with that. If this would even fit on there, unless it spins backwards. Oh, you know what? It does kind of fit on there. Maybe I could fix something with this. We'll see. Okay, I think I got the problem solved with the spring and the click ratchet not catching and all that other good stuff. What I did was, now let's turn this molding. Let's turn this movement around a little bit, like this, and we can see something. A little light on here. Okay, you see these nuts here? There's one there. I loosened these nuts up. Right here, here, and here, these 3 nuts. If you look at this gear right here, it was out of the hole. If you turn this around, it goes through here, and it was out of the hole here. See now where see where it's sticking through? Right here. Right there. This was not in the hole right there. So I loosened that up, pulled the frame back just a little bit, made sure everything stayed intact, and I moved this gear around and put it back in the hole. Now the next thing I'm going to show you, clock repairmen will probably be cringing and shooting at their computer screens like Elvis used to shoot at the TV. But I put a little Band-Aid on there, right there. You see that? And I used a little bit of super glue, and I made this part, and I use this a lot on clocks. Think I'm crazy, but our cats eat this gourmet cat food, and this is the lid off of it. It's Teflon in the inside there, and I can cut a little piece off of there, and then I lay it down. I take my punch where it's gonna, and I punch a little hole there, and that way it centers that pin where you should probably put a bushing there, right there, but I don't think that's a bad idea right there. And it will work. Now, next step, let's see if the doggone thing will wind up. Haven't tried that yet. Flapping my pie hole here, it's probably not even going to work. Put the key in there. All right. Wow, look at us go. Look at us go. All right, that's going to work. I believe that will work. Check the counter out. Let's lift the counter up. It's lifted up. Well, this is stiffer than the board right here. And it looks like this is gonna, oh, look at this. I left something out here. Look at that. Got a redo. When I loosened that up, that came out. I got a redo right there. Let me fix that real quick. Okay, as you can see, the gong side, the left side has wound up. I've got that repaired, that's centered in there. I showed you what I did back here. I want to show you again so the clock repairman can cringe again. Put that little patch on there, I call it a Band-Aid. All that does is center that and keep it from traveling around too bad. Now, let's see if this thing actually, let's lift this and see what happens. Yeah, that's what we want to hear. knocking on heaven's door right there. Alrighty. I'm going to go ahead and oil this up and probably set it to the side and work on the case next. All right, I've been working on this bezel, this face here. Got the gold paint off of it, most of it. Now here's the curious thing right here. I cleaned the gold paste. I used a little bit of alcohol and some nice steel wool here. And at some places I used this 400 right here. See that? And then I smoothed it back off with the steel wool. We'll take a close look at this and see what you think. That's the best I can get. I can't get down in here, but it looks pretty good. Let me close the lid on this thing. Okay, and also I took the razor blade and I cleaned the gold overspray off of the glass here. People, do not restore clocks with Ace Hardware paint. It's crazy, okay? Now, this is the crazy part. I took the steel wool, cleaned this off. What do we see here? We see brass under there that I polished up underneath the gold paint. You see that? There's no reason to spray gold paint on something when you could take this or Barkeeper's Friend or some abrasive and clean this up and make it look nice, you know? Well, there you go. I don't mean to scold everybody watching, but it just irks me when I see somebody trying to restore a clock. There's professionals out there. You want the clock restored, pay some money and get somebody to do it. It's not me. I'm not a clock restorer, or nor am I a clock repairman. But you got to show a little finesse when you're working on an antique, I'm pretty sure. You know? All right. We'll set this to the side. Yeah, I'm starting to use some steel wool on this. And we're getting back to the fall marble, if you can see it right here. I don't know why the heck anybody would have wanted to paint that black, but hey, with a little luck, I might be able to get that out of there. Good morning, good people. Hey, this is the next day I'm working on my Mantle clock here, my Ingraham Mantle clock, and I'll show you what I've done so far. Alrighty. I've got all the hardware apart, and I've got it all apart here, and I got the hardware toned down a little bit, as you can see. Found the front leg is broke on one side, but you know what, that's not a big deal. I found one in my garage kicking around, but it's a different style, and I thought maybe it was the same one, but it's not, so I'm not going to use it. But as you can see, the lions, these little escutcheons right here, got them toned down. I took some steel wool to them, got that gold paint primarily off. And little something I learned from doing auto glass for 43 years. I got a portable metal anodizer, and I'm going to show it to you. I don't laugh. Used to use this on a lot of nuts and bolts and things like that to tone the newness down. It's a Sharpie. You rub the Sharpie on there, then before that dries, you take that and rub it into the metal, and that's the kind of look you get right there. And that's the way it should have looked after sitting on the clock for about 100 years. The gold paint from Ace Hardware, that just don't fly. Also, I got this music box movement out, and it would be nice if I could get this to work. Unfortunately, if you look right here, there's a part missing, and it would be a flywheel to keep this from running so fast. Once this kicks on, I got everything working on it. This opens up. As you can see, this little lever right here would have held that flywheel from turning, and this would have moved and caught this wheel to stop it. every time. I don't know if this worked on the hour, the half hour, or whatever, but it would hit here, open that up, but the flywheel is missing. And you know, this exact movement is still available, but I'm going to tell you, this movement, if you bought it new, it's from $1,900 to $3,200. Why they're getting a price for that, I don't know. There's other ones that are available, but you got to find one that you could start and kick on and off. And hey, I'm searching for that right now to see if I can find one to take the place of this, or if I can find an old one with a flywheel and put that part back on. I'm sure this one's fine. Also, the key was missing, and this is going through about 1 inch of wood. Excuse me. So what I'm going to do, as you can see, let me get the light on this. I've got this clock. I took some real light gauge sandpaper. I started with 600, wet sanded this clock down. Let's look at the top. You can see it's got the dull finish on it now. That's not a problem, but it's smooth now. You don't see the brush marks from somebody hand painting this thing. Okay? Also, I took some steel wool and brought back, as you can see, the fall marble right there. This would have had this molding and this top molding, and this molding would have been fall. It would have been green, a drab green with the fall marble print on it. And I'm going to attempt, as you can see, I've got the masking tape going on. I'm going to attempt to duplicate that. I've looked at a lady on the YouTube and saw how she did it on her grandfather's clock. And I'm going to attempt to do it. If not, hey, I guess I'll go down to Ace Hardware and get some black paint. That's and stop bitching about it. But yeah, I'm going to attempt to do that and see what happens. And hopefully this clock will, like I say, I don't restore clocks. I'm not trying to restore this clock. I just want to tone it down a little bit to make it look like nothing ever happened. You know what I mean? Yeah, I was kind of disappointed with this music box movement, but as it turned out, the part's missing. There's nothing you can do. I'll probably put this back in, and I got the movement working really well. Got it oiled up and everything, and okay. Also, before I get this painting started, I was going to show the back of this clock. I took those moldings off, as you've seen earlier in the video. The guy had this sliding door on there. I've got the door coming. It's a 5-inch door. The one I have was a little different. This one bolt screwed on here, and it was on a hinge. The one I have will have a screw here and a screw here, and it slides up this way and goes down. But this is the side of the door that's going to be exposed on the outside of the clock, and that's the way it should look right there. This here's got too much going on right there. And yeah, we'll use this side right here, and I'll put a little Old English or something on that when I get done. It'll look just peachy. Alrighty, thought I'd share that one with you. All right, I'm starting to reassemble the old 1902 Ingraham clock. I'll let you see what I've got so far. It was my first attempt on marbling the moldings, and hey, leave a comment below and let me know what you think. I was almost afraid to complete this video, but hey, it doesn't look bad once I got it all together. I'd like to know your opinion though. Okay, here's the old Ingraham clock. It's partially complete. Got some of the hardware back on. That's my marbling technique right there. Let's get some light on it. I've got the gold spray paint mostly off there. Got the hardware tuned, kind of toned down a little bit. That's probably not exactly the color that they would have used in that year, but it really didn't turn out too bad. Not for an amateur anyway. Right now, you see the camera shaking? You hear that noise? I'm patting myself on the back. Also, I wanted you to take note of the finish on this. I doled this up. There was actually somebody painted this with a paintbrush, and I took it down with some fine sandpaper, some steel wool, and there was a crack right here. I just got to make sure when I put the screw back in it doesn't re-crack, but what I'm going to do is put a little rubbing compound on this, take the buffing wheel to it, and it should be nice and even. After I do that, let me spin her around here. The lions and everything go on this side. I need to do it over here. Try not to hit the fresh paint over here. And we'll reassemble this thing. It's just too bad. I was really looking forward to getting this to work right here. But like I said before, right there would have been a flywheel right there, and I don't know what happened. This clock, it doesn't really look like it took a fall. I don't know why that would be out of there, but that was out of there, and the movement was kind of apart when I found the clock. So I don't know what happened, but all right, I got the clock case assembled. And this is what we got. I don't think it looks all that bad. And it looks like this. Got it polished up the best I can. I got the overspray off. I got most of the paint, the brush marks off of there. Got the lions. Also, I'll show you what I did. Like I say, I don't detail, I don't restore a clock. I detail it. That was broke right there. So I took a piece of the other corner I had, or the other foot I had, and cut it off, and I just kind of glued it on there just so it's not so noticeable. Maybe I'll look for another foot like that one of these days, but I'm just about ready to put the movement back in there and start it up. Okay, before I install the movement back in this clock, I want to show you something if you can see that. To the hole to the right, you can see where the crack is right there. What I'm going to do before I put the movement there, I'm not just going to set the movement in and put the same old screw back in there and have the same old crack there. I'm going to drill that out with an 1/8 inch drill bit. And if the screw is too small, then we're going to use a little glue right there. And that'll keep the pressure off of that wood right there. I mean, no sense in cracking it twice. I wish I could read that writing right there. Somebody has serviced this clock, wrote their name or initials or something in the date there, but it's kind of neat or interesting to look through an old clock, and you'd be surprised if you look real close, some of the pencil marks, indelible pencil that they used to use back then. They'd write when they worked on the clock and put their name on there and everything. Now, one thing I kind of like about this clock is this bezel has not been on or off very many times. The holes for the screws are not wallowed all out, and I believe those are the original screws that came with that. I put it on right now. I'm going to put the movement on, but I got to take that back off and set the beat. On an Ingraham clock, you want to have the face off when you set the beat, because the pendulum is in the front of the movement. So just don't throw the movement, the face on and throw the movement in and think that's going to run, because it's not. Okay, I got this movement in, and I see something wrong that I had this clock running, and it ran all night one night before I took it apart, but I see something crazy. And if you look at that suspension spring right there, let me point it out with the old finger, right there, the suspension spring, the crutch is hitting the spring, and it should hit the rod down here. So what tells me is this has been changed, and I think that spring is too long. Oh, it did run. Maybe they had it put up like this or something. I'm not sure. I mean, it will run. I do have, and I lost it. I do have another suspension spring here. It may just be the right size. We're going to check it out. All right, I got the bead set. I guess I had another suspension spring here, but it was longer. The spring was longer than the one that was in there, so that didn't work out for me. But anyway, it's going. This will outlive a quartz clock 100 to 1. As you can see, my table is fairly level. I always stick a level on the clocks and set it with that. And then if I set it on something else upstairs and it's not level, I have to worry about that. But we're going to put the face on, and we're going to use this thing tonight. The holes. And if you don't want holes this big, I don't want to use those screws that came in here. I want to use a screw about this size. See that? About like that. That's good enough. So we're going to downsize those holes. So what we're going to do, take a little Elmer's, put them in the holes. Fill the holes full of this common household, everyday household product, the old toothpick. Stick the toothpick in, clip it off, let it dry a little bit. And then go ahead and use the smaller screws. You know, earlier I mentioned in this video to check your old clocks. It's kind of interesting to find some dates or things on, or initials. And if you can read, I don't know if you can read that right there or not. I'm trying to bring it into focus. I'll lay it down. It's right here. And that says 7, 10, 19. So this clock was serviced July 10, 1919. This clock was serviced over 100 years ago. It doesn't have any initials or anything that I can see, but it's kind of interesting to find that stuff on your old clock. Okay, I got the back reinstalled on this old Ingraham clock, and I'm just waiting on the 5-inch door to come in, and that'll complete that. As you can see, I use smaller screws. I showed you how I filled the holes in with glue and some toothpicks. Also use my portable metal anodizer right here to do the screw heads, so they're not all shiny and new like you just brought them home from Ace Hardware. And there you have it.